Oh, hello! Today we are doing my book haul, and this month I feel like there's been a lot, but then when I was looking at my stats, I was like, okay, I had a lot coming in, but I actually did a pretty good job of getting some things out the door as well. So we've just got a lot to talk about. So I guess let's just dive on in. First, and you're about to get the tripod shake from Hastings, marking his territory. Okay, so first are 4 books that I'm not going to tell you what they are because they're part of a secret TBR, but I bought them at a new bookstore in my neighborhood and it is absolutely adorable. It's called Novelette, and if you are in Nashville, definitely recommend going there. I believe that it is queer owned and it specializes, it has so many cool things in there, but it specializes, I think, in graphic novels. So if you are looking for that in particular, you can find that, but it's a great vibe. Love checking it out, and these came from there because I was excited that they're in my neighborhood and I wanted to show my support. So then let's talk about 3 arcs that I received, which I've read all 3 of these. So Into the Riverlands is the 3rd book in the Singing Hills cycle from Niveau. This is my 2nd favorite, I think, of the 3. I would say When the Tiger Comes Down the Mountain is my favorite, and then Into the Riverlands, and then Empress of Salt and Fortune. But I've given all 3 of them 4 stars. And I am really enjoying them. I hope that we continue to get more because I love Chi and I love their companion, Almost Brilliant. Yeah, this one is just a lovely high fantasy novella series that's very character driven. Then we have Shipwrecked by Olivia Dade. This is the 3rd in a trilogy set around this fictitious version of sort of like a Game of Thrones kind of big budget event TV prestige drama show. And these are all contemporary romances. They all have fat main characters. This has a fat heroine and a fat hero. And it wasn't my favorite of the trilogy, but I still really enjoyed, would recommend. And I do love this cover. I think that it is hot and accurate to the way the characters are described. And then A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This is about an adult film actress who is cast in a Hallmark type movie, and her hero is the lead of a boy band that she was really into back in the day. And it's a Christmas romance. Hijinks ensue. Didn't work fully for me, but worked enough that I would give it 3.5 stars. It's very madcap, I feel like, in terms of the humor. It's pretty wacky humor, and I think it worked better in her point of view than his, but I really appreciated how this was also a plus-size main character. I felt like that was handled well, and then I also appreciated the discussion around sex work in this. Yeah, all around. I would recommend this, especially if you're looking for something that is a holiday romance, but a little bit different. Okay, then I feel like next we should talk about the books that I bought during the Barnes & Noble book haul sale, where there were a bunch of things that were 50% off. Now, I bought these right before the shenanigans around them dramatically reducing their stocking of debut authors and YA and middle grade authors, particularly in the hardcover area. I did a whole live over on Bethany's channel, so I will try to remember to link that if you want some more discussion around the implications of that and my full thoughts. But just a disclaimer, I did make these purchases prior to all of that happening. So just context around these purchases. Okay, I got these 7 books. Let's divide them into ones I got because I've seen them hyped, ones I'd kind of had on my radar, and when I saw they were 50% off, I was like, sure. And, just generally some books I've been wanting to try. So they had a bunch of the first books in the Uncle Rick Presents lines on the sale. So the 2 that I decided to go with were The Last Fallen Star by Gracie Kim. I believe that this is set with like Korean mythology. Yeah. So that is middle grade fantasy with the magic being based in Korean mythology. Got that one. And then Bethany has really loved the Tristan Strong series from Kwame Imbala. And so I decided to go ahead and grab the first one in that series, which is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. I think that this is a trilogy. So those were the two from Uncle Rick's lines that I decided to grab. Then I also grabbed the latest Margaret Rogerson, which is called Vespertine. I've really enjoyed both of the books that I've read from Margaret Rogerson. I really like her sort of actual writing is quite lovely, I think. I like the way she develops characters, and you can tell she's very inspired, I think, by like Howl's Moving Castle and maybe like Tamora Pierce, or I don't know, sort of the like late 90s, early aughts YA fantasy seems to be a big kind of inspiration point from her, because that's the kind of vibe I get from her books, which I really enjoy. So this one is about Artemisia, who is training to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleans the bodies of the deceased so that their souls can pass on. And then her convent is attacked by possessed soldiers, and I'm assuming shit gets real from there. So I picked this one up because I'd kind of been on the bubble, but I thought for 50% off I could pull the trigger. And then a YA sequel I picked up, which is Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirza Price. I read Pride and Premeditation and enjoyed it. I would not have bought this at full price. I probably would have just done it from the library, but Pride and Prejudice is my favorite Jane Austen, followed by Sense and Sensibility, so I decided I kind of was gonna just go for it. Now that I know what the tone of this is, which is historical YA mystery. It's an interesting tone. I don't know that I've read a YA historical mystery that quite it doesn't. I would say if you're looking for historical accuracy, I would not recommend this series. It feels like all of the history stuff is sort of just like set dressing for the story, and I'm okay with that. That is the tone though, so you should know that before you get into the series. And like I said, I don't think I would have gotten this one at full price, but for half price I was like, okay, I do love Sense and Sensibility, so I'm gonna give this one a try. And then two I got because I'd seen them hyped either on Instagram or by some of my friends. So Queen of the Tiles by Hannah Alkaf. I'd seen this all over Bookstagram and I was intrigued by this Scrabble angle. It's a YA mystery based in like a Scrabble tournament, I'm pretty sure. And I just thought that seemed like a fun premise, and this, I guess, is just marketing working because I recognized this title. I'd seen some posts of it on Bookstagram, so I went ahead and grabbed it. And then Goliath by Tachi Anyabuchi. I have read one other book from this author, which I did enjoy. I didn't love. I read Riot Baby, and it was just missing a certain X factor for me to just love it, but I thought it was really well done and very thought-provoking. And then my friend Angela from Literature Science Alliance, who I basically just decided like should just be my personal book recommender, because every book that I've picked up and read on her recommendation, I've at least really, if not loved. So she has been raving about this year, and apparently it's pretty dense. So when I'm in the mood for sort of like a dense sci-fi, I'm gonna pick up Goliath on her recommendation. So I picked this up. When it's half off, it's just easy to say yes. Speaking of which, I hadn't heard of this, but this is a topic I'm interested in, and that was An Abolitionist Handbook, 12 Steps to Changing Yourself in the World by Patrice Coolers. And I believe that this is about prison abolition, which is a topic that I am interested in, so I wanted to pick up this to learn more. Okay, so that was my little Barnes & Noble haulage. And now let's get to my gigantic stack of pre-orders. I knew that August had a lot of books coming out, but I don't think I realized how many until this. Oh, okay, actually, you know what? I just realized I had one that I should have put in my ARC pile. So I had read an e-ARC, but because I was a part of a panel that East City Bookshop hosted, which they very kindly sent me a signed book plate from Nalini Singh put in here. So that was very nice. But they asked me to host a launch party with them. So the publisher sent me an advanced physical copy, which was very kind of them, but I had already had this pre-order, so this just basically saved me a pre-order because I collect all of these in hardback. You guys know I love the Side Changeling series. I have a whole ass podcast whose first season is wholly dedicated to this series, which I absolutely love. So, had to get the latest Storm Echo. We get some big macro plot revelations in this book, so I haven't read it yet. Strap in. I also had already read my e-ARC, but I collect the physical hardbacks of Ruby Fever by Alona Andrews. This is the finale in the Catalina trilogy, which I loved, and this had so many revelations or sort of like confirmations of theories that I've had for the last few books. And it just was really satisfying. It was a really, really good wrap up. Like if they wanted to leave the series here, they could. They clearly in the epilogue opened the door for Arabella to have her spinoff, but I'm assuming, I don't know, just based on some of the things I've seen on the website, I'm guessing that they may not be getting to Arabella's series immediately. I can live with. I do think that the Hidden Legacy series is probably quality-wise the best thing that they've done. I'm glad to have the rounding out of these books to sit on my shelves. Okay, and then, oh no, I already messed up one of the books. So sad. Okay, I have some other pre-orders that we need to get to. The one I messed up was The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I have been holding off on reading the Hawthorne Legacy until this finale of the trilogy came out. So now I can do just like a nice back-to-back reading of both of these books. This is a YA mystery, yeah, like action mystery kind of thing. The first book, The Inheritance Games, is described as Westing Games meets Knives Out, which I think is a fair pitch. I will say it also has a very strong love triangle, which I really liked the way she ended up resolving a love triangle in the Natural series. So while that's not normally my thing, I'm gonna give her some runway to, I'm open to this. I think that she potentially can pull this off. So I got that. We have Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston, which is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers that left off in a really interesting place. And this is a middle grade fantasy, so I'm excited to see what happens next. Then I have The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. She also writes a fantasy romance, a romantic fantasy series under the name L. Penelope. But this one is a historical whodunit, and it starts with a heist. So I'm excited for this. This also has a speculative element. I can't tell if it's the beginning of a series. I need to do some research because if it is, I probably don't have this in my budget to start right now. See my previous video about series, trying to be better about starting series if I have enough room for them on my DVR. But yeah, so I need to do some research, but it's blurred by P. DeJelly Clark, Justina Ireland, Marie Brennan. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I have high hopes that I'm really gonna love this. And then These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall is a isolation spooky house thriller. And just the pitch for this sounded really good. I try not to know too much about thrillers like this before I go in them, but there is, let's see, Helen Vaughn doesn't know why she and her mother left their ancestral home at Hearthstone Hall called Harrow, or why they haven't spoken to their extended family since. So when her grandfather dies, she's shocked to learn he left her everything. So I think she is finding out about their family secrets. Hastings, could you not, sweet boy? Could you not? I'm assuming we're gonna find out what the secrets from the past are and like what the spooky goings on are about. And then the last pre-order was Babel by R.F. Kuang. I have started this just barely, but I am doing a spoiler-filled recap, review, whatever over on TikTok. So if you want to follow along, I have marked 11 check-in points. And from what I've read so far, highly intrigued. Assuming this is going to be another banger. Can't wait to get further in. And then I think all the last ones of these are just random. So I did have a bunch of gift card points. I've mentioned this before, but like my work does this thing where if people want to say thank you to you, they can give you these points and then you can redeem the points for gift cards or other things. I always get Amazon gift cards so that I can buy books that I wouldn't normally treat myself to. It's a testament to how crazy work has been, how many of these points I have recently, or at least this year. But I decided to treat myself to a book that one of you guys recommended to me, I think when I did my Tarot Picks My TBR vlog, which is the Library of Esoterica's tarot book. And I got this because of like, look how beautiful these illustrations are. And it gets into like the history of all of the cards. And it just shows you a bunch of different examples of the different artwork associated with it. So I have this in my living room and I've just been kind of picking it up as, you know, fancy strikes. But I just think that this is so beautiful. It's very hefty. It's a very well like made book. It feels very substantial. Ooh, and it has what I think of as museum book paper smell. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, I think this is the paper they use whenever it needs to be like thicker for them to do printed illustrations of detailed artwork, but it smells so good and it's so hefty. So I've been enjoying this. Okay, and then 2 short story collections I picked up on recommendation from the short story video that I did. Did a vlog where I was reading a bunch of different short stories. So I picked up Out There by Kate Folk, which is, it sounds like a sci-fi collection, and people had, like, just the things people were saying about this was really intriguing to me. So I picked that up. And then I also picked up Twin Spirits, The Complete Weird Stories of W.W. Jacobs. I think I'm going to read this for Halloween this year, but somebody reminded me of The Monkey's Paw, which I read way back in the day, but I love that short story. And I feel like some gothic, spooky short stories might be fun for October this year. So I grabbed this. Oh, I missed one in my pre-order. Did this come out in July or at the beginning of August? I forget. Okay, this was another one I had pre-ordered, The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. The reason I pre-ordered this was because I had heard, like, right before that it has like annotations in it, which if you guys know me, you know that I love that. I love sort of a story within a story or sort of meta-textual elements to a book. So I think that this has something to do with vampires, but honestly, just knowing that there's like marginalia was enough to sell me on this. So sorry, I should have put that in my pre-order stack. And then John the Duncan, who is a video essayist I really enjoy here on YouTube. He does a lot of stuff about sort of like leftist theory, and he had a whole video recommending books. I've got a few of them that I would like to get, but the 2 that I have right now are Social Reproduction Theory, Remapping Class, Recentering Oppression, which is edited by Tithi Bhattacharya. The way he was describing this, it sounds like it's talking about how it's like critiquing intersectionalism and trying to go a step beyond it from like a perspective of a Marxist critique, and basically like really integrating class with gender and race, I think. Yeah, like one of the essays is called Intersections in Dialectic, Critical Reconstructions in Social Reproduction Theory, Children, Childhood, and Capitalism, a Social Reproduction Perspective. So basically, I think that it's this idea of like women have to be, like give birth, I think, to perpetuate the existing class order. I think that's kind of where this is going. But anyway, I was interested when he was talking about it, and he was saying it was like a really good sort of introduction to this line of critical thought. So I'm intrigued to get into this at some point. And then he also had a recommendation for Capitalism and Disability, Selected Writings by Marta Russell. And again, this is a critique of capitalism specifically from the perspective of disabled activists, which if you guys watch my What is Ableism video, you know that I am trying to educate myself more kind of in this area of discourse. So I thought that this would also be a good one to give a shot to. So I got both of those from him, from his recommendation. And then last but not least, another one I got on a recommendation. This is from, I believe the Chapter 3 podcast had a episode where they had, I want to say maybe Bree and Ashley from Bookish Realm on. I forget who all was on there. This was a recommendation of Ashley's. And as soon as I heard the name of this manga, because it was a manga recommendation video. As soon as I heard the name of this manga and saw the cover, I was like, I must read this. And that is Dick Fight Island by Riben Aiki. Listen, apparently it is like what this book is about is exactly what's in the title. And I think I may do after I finish reading Babel on TikTok, this may be the next book that I do a read and discuss on TikTok, because this just seems like something that we should experience communally. But like, check out his little sassy bolero. Check out the protective covering over the titular area. It's a lot, and I'm very excited to find out what is going on in this. So one of my favorite recommendations I've ever gotten. Okay, and then in terms of the change to my TBR, let me grab the numbers real quick. So I added in total 24 books to my TBR this month, but I removed from my TBR 25 books, which means that net, I am down 1 book from my TBR for the month, and I am down 17 books for my TBR for the year. Guys, I'm starting to really believe in myself. If that was my results the month I had, like 8 or 9 pre-orders, I feel like we're gonna make it. I think we're gonna have my first negative change to my TBR since I have been tracking this, which has been for 11 years. So I appreciate you guys listening to this stat, because I truly believe it is helping me drive to these results. So I appreciate your attentiveness and accountability, and I am stoked. I believe in myself. Let's just manifest this now. We are making it to the end of 2022, and I will have fewer books on my TBR at the end of 22 than I had at the beginning of it, and that will be a first. So very excited for that. All right, and that will do it for this unreasonably large haul. Definitely let me know if you have read or have thoughts about any of the books we talked about today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But yeah, I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!